Nature has its own wonderfully strange way of surpassing every human marvel ever made. But seems so, we are not even in the league. Have you ever heard about a volcano that splits gold and diamonds? Or a lake full of methane bubbles that can ignite a fire? Well, if you haven't, then get ready, because today we're going to explore 15 strange phenomena that will blow your mind. Let's start off with number 15. Blue jets and red sprites. Lightning is old news. It's common. But the sky's been keeping secrets, and they're called red sprites and blue jets. Electrical fireworks so high up, most of us never see them. Red sprites don't crackle like regular lightning. They burst out of nowhere, glowing red like eerie tendrils stretching 20 kilometers above a storm. Scientists dismissed them as tall tales until cameras finally caught them in action. And if we speak about blue jets, well, they're a whole different beast. Instead of zapping down to Earth, they shoot up, launching from thunderclouds toward the stratosphere like some kind of cosmic javelin. First spotted in 1994, they remain one of the atmosphere's strangest mysteries. Why do they happen? What triggers them? Even with our tech, answers are murky. But one thing's clear: nature's still hiding plenty of surprises above our heads. Number 14. Polar stratospheric clouds. High up where the air is too dry for clouds to exist, something strange happens when winter bites deep enough. At 70,000 feet, ice crystals form and scatter sunlight, turning the sky into a swirling mix of neon pinks, purples, and blues. These are polar stratospheric clouds, so rare that most people will never see them in their lifetime. We feel sad because they only show up near the Arctic and Antarctic, just before sunrise or sunset. And let's be honest, do you want to go to the land we know nothing about? The conditions have to be brutally cold, way below freezing, to pull off this kind of spectacle. But behind their dazzling beauty, they have a darker side. They actually help destroy the ozone layer, meaning they're both stunning and a little sinister. A sky painted in electric colors is beautiful, but knowing those unique colors are tied to environmental damage? Well, not so much. Nature, as always, has a way of keeping things balanced. Number 13. Kelvin-Helmholtz clouds. Clouds don't normally look like ocean waves rolling across the sky, but sometimes they do, and this is one of the strangest ones. Kelvin-Helmholtz clouds form when fast-moving air slides over a slower layer beneath it, sculpting perfect wave shapes in the atmosphere. It's the same physics that makes wind whip across the ocean's surface, except this time, it's painting the sky. These clouds are rare and fleeting. One minute, they're curling gracefully like something out of a Van Gogh painting. The next, they're gone. If you're flying near them, though, you'll feel them. These waves mean serious turbulence. Some say they inspired the swirling patterns in Van Gogh's Starry Night. Whether that's true or not, they're definitely one of the most surreal sights nature has to offer. Catch them on a windy day, usually just before a storm rolls in. But don't blink, or you'll miss them. And these clouds prove that beautiful things don't last long. Number 12. Horsetail Fall. Most waterfalls are predictable. They flow, they crash, they exist. Not horsetail fall. For a few rare days every February, it turns into liquid fire. The trick is timing. As the sun sets, it hits the falls at just the right angle, turning the water glowing orange and red. For about 10 magical minutes, it looks like lava is spilling off the edge of the cliff. People travel from all over just for a chance to witness it. But nature doesn't guarantee. Clouds, a slight change in weather, or lower water levels? No firefall. Just a regular waterfall and a bunch of disappointed photographers. Those who do catch it say it's one of the most breathtaking things they've ever seen. A lava waterfall made of nothing but light. Only Yosemite could pull off something this dramatic. If you want to see it for yourself, well, pack your bags and take a trip, because life is short, buddy. Number 11. Tree spiders. Floods come with destruction, But in 2010, Pakistan's floodwaters created something no one saw coming. Entire trees wrapped in spider webs. Just look at that. As the water levels rose, millions of spiders had nowhere to go but up. They climbed trees and spun silk in sheer panic, covering branches in thick layers of webbing. By the time the flood receded, the landscape looked like something out of a horror movie. Ghostly trees draped in eerie cocoon-like veils. The weirdest part is that this accidental spider apocalypse actually helped people. The mosquito population plummeted. With fewer standing water breeding grounds and spiders catching them in their silk traps, locals saw a dramatic drop in malaria cases. Nature doesn't always work the way we expect. Sometimes, even in the strangest situations, there's an unexpected silver lining, one wrapped in millions of tiny crawling legs. This is a strange phenomenon. What do you say? Number 10. Snow chimneys. Volcanoes and ice don't usually mix, but in the Arctic and Antarctic, where fire meets freezing air, something weird happens. Snow chimneys rise from the ground like ghostly towers, standing as high as 60 feet. These icy giants, also called ice fumaroles, form when scalding volcanic gases seep through cracks in the ground, melting tunnels through the snowpack above. When the steam hits the freezing air, it solidifies into surreal chimney-like ice structures that look like something straight out of a fantasy movie. You'll only find them in the most inhospitable places on Earth, near volcanoes that defy logic by existing in sub-zero wastelands. Scientists study them as earthbound twins of Martian ice vents, meaning these structures aren't just cool. They might be key to understanding other planets. Who knew volcanoes could be responsible for creating something so chillingly beautiful? All right, guys. Now, let's talk about Number 9. Hair ice. It looks like someone left a tuft of silky white hair draped over a rotting log. But don't be fooled. This isn't some forest spirit's leftover wig. This is hair ice, one of nature's most delicate and rare ice formations. Only found on dead wood in broadleaf forests between 45 degrees and 55 degrees north, this bizarre ice structure forms due to the work of a fungus named Exidiopsis effusa. The fungus prevents ice crystals from clumping together, forcing them to grow in impossibly fine strands, each 0.01 millimeters thick, as they push out of the wood. The result? A stunning, white cotton candy-like frost that only appears under specific humidity and temperature conditions. The moment the sun hits, it disappears, vanishing as if it never existed. You have to be lucky, or in the right forest, on the right morning, to ever catch a glimpse of this icy illusion. Number 8. Pororoca. Surfing in the ocean? That's normal and everyone loves it. But surfing on the Amazon River, 800 kilometers inland? Now that's legendary. Meet Pororoca, the brutal tidal bore that sends 4-meter-high waves crashing upstream for miles. Twice a year, when the Atlantic tides collide with the mouth of the Amazon River, an unstoppable wall of water surges backward, swallowing everything in its path. Boats, trees, even whole sections of riverbanks. It roars through the jungle at 15 miles per hour, making it the longest rideable wave on Earth. Surfers travel from around the world for a shot at riding this beast. The longest recorded ride? A jaw-dropping 12.5 kilometers over 37 minutes, something no ocean wave could ever match. But Pororoca isn't just a surfer's dream. It's destructive, uprooting trees and reshaping riverbanks with its raw force. The Amazon doesn't just flow, it fights back. And who knows, maybe you can see a 90-foot giant river python. Number 7. Pele's hair. It looks like golden angel hair, but touch it and you'll regret it. This is Pele's hair, razor-sharp volcanic glass that forms when lava stretches into impossibly thin threads. Named after Pele, the Hawaiian goddess of volcanoes, These delicate strands form when lava fountains shoot molten rock into the air, where the wind stretches and cools it into glass-like filaments. The result? Hair-thin strands of volcanic glass that drift through the air, landing on trees, rooftops, and even radio towers miles away. Despite their delicate appearance, these fibers are dangerous. They're sharp as needles and brittle enough to shatter into microscopic glass dust that can cause serious lung damage if inhaled. So while it might look like a magical golden web, this is nature's version of barbed wire. Beautiful from a distance, but not something you'd want to touch. Number 6. Giant permafrost explosions. The ground isn't supposed to explode, but in Siberia, it's doing just that, and leaving behind massive craters that look like something straight out of an apocalypse movie. These permafrost explosions happen when ancient pockets of methane gas, trapped underground for thousands of years, suddenly burst through the surface. With the Arctic warming at an alarming rate, the frozen ground melts, the pressure builds, and eventually, boom. The first documented explosion happened in 2013, but the biggest crater, 165 feet deep, was discovered in 2017. Scientists have now identified over 700 possible sites where similar eruptions could happen next. The scary part? Methane is a greenhouse gas 25 times more potent than CO2, meaning these explosions aren't just tearing up the land, they're accelerating climate change. The Earth is literally blowing holes in itself as the planet heats up. And this is just the beginning. Number 5. St. Elmo's Fire. Imagine sailing through a violent storm, waves crashing, lightning flashing, and suddenly, blue flames start flickering at the tip of the mast. No, the ship isn't on fire. This is St. Elmo's Fire, one of the ocean's most mystical and eerie phenomena. Named after Saint Erasmus, or Elmo, the patron saint of sailors, this ghostly glow appears when plasma forms due to a coronal discharge in a strong electric field. Basically, when charged particles build up on sharp objects, like a ship's mast or even church steeples, the air ionizes, creating this strange blue-violet glow. Sailors once believed it was a sign from the heavens, an omen of protection or warning. Even today, pilots have reported seeing it dancing on airplane wings during thunderstorms. Is it dangerous? Not really. But when the sky turns electric and a ship starts glowing in the middle of the sea, you can bet it sends chills down the spine. It is much better than volcano lightning, isn't it? Number 4. Blood rain. A normal rainstorm? Boring. But blood-red rain falling from the sky? Well, that's something to remember. In 2001, the people of Kerala, India, looked up to see deep crimson rain pouring down, staining everything in sight. As if that wasn't eerie enough, reports of yellow, green, and black rain followed. This wasn't the first time either. Kerala had seen red rain as far back as 1896, and it happened again in 2012. At first, scientists thought a meteor explosion had contaminated the clouds with extraterrestrial dust, which, let's be real, would have been awesome. But after testing, it turned out the rain was filled with microscopic spores from a local algae species, Trentipolia. Basically, the sky was dumping billions of tiny algae particles onto the Earth. It wasn't blood, but it sure looked like the sky had taken a stab wound. If you ever see red rain, just know, nature is showing off again. Number 3. The Belt of Venus. Ever looked up just after sunset or right before sunrise and seen a massive pinkish-purple glow wrapping around the horizon? That's the Belt of Venus, and no, it has nothing to do with the planet. What you're actually seeing is Earth's shadow cast onto the atmosphere, creating a stunning color gradient, deep blue on the bottom, pink on top. The reason it looks like a giant celestial belt: light from the setting or rising sun gets scattered by the atmosphere, painting the sky in these dramatic shades. If you've ever watched a total solar eclipse, you might have seen the same effect. It's one of those quiet, everyday miracles that most people don't even notice, but once you know about it, you'll never stop looking for it. The sky has its own way of putting on a show, and this one's a masterpiece. Number 2. Sea foam. If you've ever seen the shoreline covered in thick, frothy bubbles, almost like a giant foamy latte, you've witnessed sea foam in action. This isn't just random ocean fizz. It's created when seawater churns up decaying organic matter, especially algae blooms, whipping it into a bubbly mess. Most of the time, sea foam is harmless and even a sign of a thriving marine ecosystem. But when harmful algal blooms start breaking down near the shore, things get ugly. These toxic foams can release airborne toxins that irritate the skin, eyes, and even lungs if inhaled. In extreme cases, entire beaches get buried under mountains of foam, creating an eerie, alien landscape. It's nature's version of a bubble bath, sometimes harmless, sometimes a toxic warning sign. Either way, if the beach looks like it's foaming at the mouth, you might want to think twice before diving in. Number 1. Creepy frozen trees. Some winter landscapes look magical, others look like a horror movie set. Meet the creepy frozen trees of the Arctic, where sub-zero temperatures twist and freeze entire forests into grotesque ice creatures. These snow monsters are found near the Arctic Circle, where temperatures can plummet to -40 degrees Celsius. The relentless wind and frost coat trees in layers of thick ice, warping them into towering, ghostly figures. Walk through one of these frozen forests, and it feels like something is watching you. Giant, distorted shapes rising from the ground, silent and eerie. These ice formations aren't just a random winter quirk, they're proof of how brutal Arctic weather can be. Snow and frost pile up so intensely that the trees underneath become completely unrecognizable. The result? A landscape straight out of a sci-fi nightmare. You don't have to believe in ghosts, but if you ever find yourself in a forest full of these ice-covered giants, good luck convincing yourself they aren't alive. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon in the next one.